Hey, it's Thursday, May 13th, and I'm putting out just one more clip before I start writing. A lot of good stuff going on, a lot of things happening on inflation and discussing that. I'm going to write an article today talking about the real reason why the Federal Reserve is not worried about inflation. It may surprise you. But here are the articles I've been looking at just over the last 24 hours. There was a great article in the Wall Street Journal quoting Kevin Hassett. He's a former Trump official, but he's also a policy wonk and a really smart guy. I've met Kevin several times. He's a good guy. But his quote was interesting because of what it says about inflation in the Biden administration. And let me just read it to you really quickly. He said, the Biden administration is providing perhaps the biggest positive stimulus to demand since World War II. And at the same time, they're doing everything it can to suppress supply. So that gives you a glimpse into his thoughts about why inflation is going up. So that's a good article that I thought was worthwhile. Then I checked out an article by Ian Bremmer's group. This is the old Eurasia group. I don't know if it's old anymore, but it's G0 Media. And they had a really nice weekly article, and it talked about, of course, about Israel and Palestine, but also it talked about the detente between Iran and Saudi Arabia. And I think what's interesting there is not so much that it's occurring. I mean, that's surprising for sure, but why it's occurring at this time? From the Saudi Arabia standpoint, obviously they're not getting as much support from the Biden administration, so they need to start reaching out to some of the people that they have been concerned about who may cause them problems, like Iran. And then also from the Iranian standpoint, they may be looking to find a way to reduce down some of their spending outside their borders that supports a lot of groups like Hamas and others that have caused problems for other countries. And the reason why I say that is because Iran has spent about $15 billion per year on these activities, and when their economy is doing so poorly, their own people have risen up and had demonstrations chanting to stop doing that. So that's interesting from that standpoint. I think what's interesting in the article as well is that they note a 40% potential decline in oil revenues for both Saudi Arabia and Iran that are maybe pushing them together to help come to a point where they can agree on some things to stop some of the escalation and hostilities. So that's something that's interesting.